Morbius is a champion who has always had some interesting relationships with the community, you could say, because when he was released, he was the first ever champion you could acquire from a gold track type system, which we see now with just regular gold tracks and then like the gold track with Beta Ray Bill in it and stuff like that. And when he was released, basically everyone got him as a 7-star because if you spent for the pretty inexpensive track, then you could get him. And I was one of those people. I got Morbius, I played around with him at rank 1 a little bit, and I was like, he's fine. He's not the craziest champion out there, especially for a science character, but the higher Morbius's rank goes, the more stuff he can just obliterate. Before you say, well, that's the case for every champion, it's not always the same thing. Like, sometimes Silk doesn't feel like she needs to be at rank 3 when rank 2 is enough. Sometimes Hulkling doesn't feel like he needs to be ascended over unascended. Champions like Morbius, another good example is Galen, they just love to have that extra rank more than usual. And I feel like Morbius falls into that category pretty well. So much so that I took him to rank 3, mainly because of Alliance War, because he is pretty good this tactic, which, yeah, we're going to be seeing some Alliance War gameplay sooner or later. But with that being said, let's just start off with the gameplay here against Winter Soldier, and then afterwards I'm going to show you Captain Marvel. You're just going to see the 2 basic Morbius rotations. He's a very uncomplicated character, so yeah, we're just going to see 2 rotations. The first one is just where we do SP1 into SP2, and then just, yeah, drop the SP2 with as many bleeds as possible, and then your SP2 is just going to do a really, really nice crit, and then hopefully the defender is dead. But anyway, we dropped the SP2, it did 274,000 damage, which will kill almost any BG's health pool, honestly. But Winter Soldier's still at 31%, so we need to build up to another SP2 real quick. And then once we get that SP2 active with the Petrify, then it's going to do the guaranteed crit and it's going to finish him off. So there we go. That's Winter Soldier. But for the next fight, we're going to do the rotation where we just only drop SP2s. So just focus on countering specials with your glide as often as possible, and then only drop SP2s. And then hopefully 2 SP2s will be all you need to kill this 550,000 health pool Captain Marvel. So anyway, yeah, Morbius, he's a very cool champion. I think he's a little bit on the weaker side of science champions released this year because it's the friggin' science class. Like, the science class is just absurd and definitely the best class in the game in my opinion. So he's got a lot of competition to deal with, but he still has so much BG's value that I feel like this video can prove that he is definitely a worthy rank up for some BG stuff, and even some other game modes like Alliance War, which we're going to get to later, boss killing, like I'm going to show multiple Summer of Suffering bosses that he's going to take. And yeah, drop the second SP2 here, Captain Marvel's dead, so 200k on that second SP2, I absolutely love to see it. And then yeah, that's 49-second KO. So now we're going to start some Battlegrounds gameplay, starting against Kindred. This is one of my favorite matchups to do with Morbius because gliding into Kindred's SP1 is just so much fun to get the free counter. But either way, we're going to need to get there with the glide active, and then I just need Kindred to drop his SP1 right here. I didn't have my glide ready, so I'm just going to have to counter it normally, but for this SP1, we will be able to get the counter correct. And there we go, extra 5 bleeds, and then, yeah, we want to build up to an SP2 right under 3 bars, because that's going to push him into his root phase, and then we're going to be ready to drop another special tech to break out of the root immediately after, just like that. So, there we go, that's a Kindred done in 42 seconds, and before you say anything, that SP2 would kill a rank 3 Kindred as well. So, next up we're fighting a Werewolf by Night, which is one of the more underrated Mystic Defenders if you ask me, because those Ruptures can just really eat up your health, and health matters a lot in BGs. So, we're going to try to not get Ruptures on us. Morbius does have a way to reduce damaging debuffs on himself with his Undying passive from his Awaken ability, but I'm pretty sure that only affects damage over time that does direct damage, so Rupture would not fall into that category because it is physical damage. But at the same time, we're just going to be able to kill this Werewolf before he really becomes a big problem. Just like that, because we get 23 bleed, 24 bleeds, drop the SP2, 296,000 crit. And Werewolf does not have a small health pool either, so if we can kill a Mystic without any SP1 just like that, with a massive health pool like Werewolf has, we can kill a lot of stuff with just an SP2. So, next up we're fighting Terrax. Rank 2 Terrax, so yes, we are punching down a bit, but this is an example of where Morbius' Sig ability just opens up a lot more matchups, because if you don't know, with Morbius' Sig ability, you are going to be placing Ruptures when you're fighting a Bleed Immune, and these function just like the Bleeds would for Morbius' kit, so the more of them you have, the bigger the SP2 you're going to drop is. And at first glance, it looks like it's not going to be very impactful until you get high Sig, but remember that the Fervor increases the ability accuracy of you placing debuffs, so even though your Morbius might be low Sig like mine, it's gonna feel like you're placing debuffs very often. Like you saw there, we had 21 debuffs there, which at Sig 20 it says it's like an only 50% chance to place the Rupture instead, but with the Fervor it goes up a lot. So, and if we're fighting a Terrax at an even rank and that SP2 happens to not kill, well, we also get some really nice lifesteal after the SP2, so that's going to heal back a lot of the chip damage we took just from taking rock field damage, so I find that pretty cool. Next up, we're fighting Sasquatch, rank 2 Sasquatch, and again, this is another one where we're punching down. However, if we were fighting a rank 3 Sasquatch, he would still die, and you're going to see that once we drop the SP2. I will admit that I did get very nice Wrath RNG because he triggered it pretty early, which is pretty nice. And then normally I don't do an SP1 versus opponents and BGs, especially Mystic ones, but because Sasquatch is the biggest health pool in the game, I figured it would help a lot to make sure I have high bleed count when dropping the SP2. And he's going to go into Wrath in just a moment here. We have 26 bleeds lined up, now 33 bleeds lined up. 382,000 crit, which would wipe out a rank 3 Sasquatch. So 50-second takedown for Sasquatch. Beautiful. Next up, we're fighting Mephisto. And I feel like outside of maybe Human Torch, this is probably the best Mephisto counter for BGs. Just because you can just glide like almost infinitely because of the Fervor buff being failed because of Mephisto's aura thingy that he does, or not aura, the whatever the thing he does where he reduces your ability accuracy, like as a neutralize but not a neutralize. So what you do with Morbius for this fight is you just get to the SP2, you drop it, and then he dies at, or doesn't die, but he's left at 1% health, and then you heal back a lot of the aura damage that you took. So now it's just a matter of finishing off the last bit of health he had, and yeah, we finished at 90% health in only 42 seconds, so really, really nice takedown there. And the next up we have an Onslaught. This was from the meta where Science Champs were buffed, so I'm not going to hide that he is doing extra damage here. However, I don't have a great clip of this fight, but I know Nagase has a really good Morbius versus rank 3 Onslaught fight in his recent Morbius video he put out. So if you want to see a higher ranked Onslaught and also a meta where he's not getting these Furies, then yeah, go check out that video. I just didn't have the opportunity to get a rank 3 Onslaught fight in this meta, or just recently at all. But yeah, I know one exists, so go check out Nagase's fight for that. In the meantime, this Onslaught, he's going to go down pretty fast. The Furies also from the node also don't impact the SP2 damage too much because we're already increasing the special attack damage so much just from there being the Petrify and the bleeds on the opponent. But the Furies are definitely making our basics hit a lot harder. So yeah, there's a little bit of a trade-off there. And then yeah, the SP2 does crazy damage, and then 44 seconds for that Onslaught. So those are my Battlegrounds fights. Next up, we're going to move on to this funny little path I found in Act 7, to where if you ever wanted to see what Morbius's maximum damage on his SP2 is, you can see it on this path, because what this path does is you gain Paradox charges, and then the Paradox charges increase the duration of your debuffs you're inflicting on the opponent. So we can just stack up 40 bleeds, which is the maximum damage you can get off the SP2. Just stack up 40 bleeds and then see how much it does. Obviously, this is a very unrealistic scenario because you're never reaching 40 bleeds outside of this unless you're fighting like someone who's gonna have like a neutralize on you at like all times. And then even then it wouldn't be easy. But yeah, I just wanted to see what his maximum SP2 damage looked like. It's not practical at all, but if you ever find any nodes where you can increase the duration of your debuffs you're placing on the opponent, yeah, this is just a really fun time. So anyway, just keep countering She-Hulk specials, placing the additional bleeds, and then we just want to get to that SP2 with 40. You can stack the bleeds above 40, but the attack bonus you get on the SP2 is limited to 40. So, yeah, just a little bit of a thing that I figured I should clarify. Like, I have 42 bleeds, but it's dealing the damage that 40 would have done. And then, yeah, 447,000 damage crit. So, we're going to do this fight one more time versus Mordo, CUC with class advantage, which really doesn't make that big a difference because this matchup doesn't really matter if you have class advantage or not, because you're increasing your attack so much on the SP2 anyway that minuscule bonus doesn't really make a difference. So 459,000 damage. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, next up we're going to fight the infamous Summer of Suffering Toad. And this is another example where I can talk about his sig ability a bit more. I don't know if exactly what I'm going to tell you is going to come into play in this fight, but basically the way his sig ability works is that if you have a damaging debuff on you that does direct damage, remember direct is neither physical or energy. Examples of it are degeneration, bleed, and poison. And obviously Toads in this case would be poison. If you have any of those damaging debuffs on you, you cannot die from them. You can die from basics still, but you cannot die from the debuff damage themselves, which is really cool. If I was ever at a point where I was at 1% health and gonna die from poisons, I don't remember if it happens in this fight, but if that ever was going to happen, I just wouldn't die. I'd have to take damage from Toad's hits himself to actually die. So it's a really cool sig ability, and it doesn't like show a bunch of uses too often, because how close are you to dying in game modes that really matter, like Battlegrounds and stuff like Alliance War, I guess you could say. I don't know, maybe it could save you a niche thing in Alliance War, but at the same time, it's very cool, and this is a good example of where it might be useful, because Toad is placing poisons all the time, and yeah. So this fight is a little bit of a slog. Mainly because you can't modify Toad's regeneration rate, so it's kind of just dropping SP2s and hopefully the final one just kills him and he's not just stuck at 1% and regenning for the rest of the fight. That's kind of just what we have to hope for, but yeah, we're just dropping a bunch of SP2s, hoping he throws his specials because, yeah, you know the AI in this fight sucks. So there we go, another SP2 with 19 bleeds, 215,000 damage, and yeah, just keep chugging along. I played really well with the inverted controls in this fight. Obviously, he doesn't have any way to counter the inverted controls, but it just takes a lot of practice, which I did this fight a lot. I think with Morbius, it took me about 8 attempts to get this solo, because, yeah, just AI's stupid in this one sometimes, but it's all good. We're going to dash into the SP2 to gain the counter. And I'm pretty sure it's like impossible to counter Toad's SP2 with 100% safety unless you're playing Morbius and you can just dash into it like that, which that's also pretty cool. So a strategy I kind of went for this fight was baiting SP1s when the root is going to happen and baiting SP2s when the inverted controls is going to happen. It's not the end of the world if he throws an SP1 with inverted, but it is the end of the world if he drops it with root. Drops the SP2 with root, I should say. Because it's almost impossible dex timing. I've done it like on accident a couple times, but I've never figured out how to do it on purpose. I'm sure you could if you practice it enough, but the rooted SP2 unblockable dex, it's almost impossible, at least for me. But anyway, we're going to build up to another SP2 here with 20-something bleeds, and then drop it. It pushes him all the way to 16%. And ideally, this next SP2 finishes the job. Will it? We'll have to see. But we drop the glide right into the vomit, I guess he shoots at me. I really would like to know what was going on when they animated Toad's SP2, because I don't know a lot of Toad's power set or lore, I guess you could say, but is spitting vomit a thing he actually does in comics a lot? I don't know. It also might not be vomit. It just looks exactly like vomit, so I'm gonna say it is. Anyway, got caught there. I'm lucky he didn't decide to kill me. I was just going for a normal intercept, and he was like, no, I'm not gonna do what a normal AI should do. Either way, this SB2 is gonna kill him. Just barely, I believe, too. He was at 1%, and literally the final hit with like 1,000 damage on it killed him, so that was a nice little takedown. 4 minutes, and also Morbius wasn't any objective, so it's like, why would you use Morbius for that fight? I just wanted to, and it turned out it worked pretty well. So next up, we're fighting the Destroyer fight from Summer of Suffering as well. Morbius is okay for this fight, because if you're duped, you just place Ruptures instead of the bleeds, obviously, but you're also taking Rupture damage yourself because of the fact that I'm going to have a Fervor buff on me at all times, basically. So that's a little annoying, but you can also like glide into his SB2, which is fun. So yeah, anyway, we drop the SB2. I'm pretty sure in this fight, and I think in most fights where you're fighting bleed immunes, you kind of just want to do SB2s only and not worry about the SB1 too much, just because of the way the Fervor works. But that's just me. Sometimes I am going to use SB1s here. I don't know if I like had a specific, like, this is what I want to do. I think it was just like in the moment I'm dropping SB1 here, or in the moment I'm skipping the SB1 here. Either way, I'm sure like you get success on both sides, depending on if you want to drop it or not. But yeah, we're going to drop the SB2 here, 20 bleeds, and it does 233,000 damage. And then the lifesteal just from these consistent SB2 drops is just really nice, helping to regain some of that health we lost because of the instant Rupture he's dealing to us. We'll absolutely take that. And then, yeah. At this point, drop the Relic here. I don't have the Fervor, but now I do, so now I can start placing Ruptures more consistently. And I just need a couple more Ruptures, ideally, and then I can drop the SB2 with it at a Petrify, but I didn't get any, so this SB2 does almost nothing, because you need that Petrify for it to do damage. You just really do. But on the bright side, it didn't consume any Ruptures, so at least I have a little bit left on my next build. But they're probably going to fall off anyway, so who cares. And then I'm going to go for another SB2 here in just a moment. I just need Destroyer to throw his SB1. He does. He gains the power gain, but once we get our Petrify active, obviously, then we don't need to worry about it. Looks like we didn't even get the Petrify active. He just dropped his special attacks, luckily. But yeah, so this isn't the greatest matchup for Morbius. It's obviously not going the best for me, but it's working relatively well. So drop an SB1 there, place a bunch of Ruptures, go for the SB2 counter, which is pretty cool, place a bunch of Ruptures, and now he's at 14. Hopefully drop the SB2 with like close to 20 if I can get there. But it looks like I'm going to be at 19, and then a little more after this SB1 counter, which I didn't even go for the glide. Okay, whatever. And now he drops his SB1, gonna go for the counter, and then place 2 more Ruptures, take some more Rupture damage myself. And yeah, the fight's almost over. I guess this does mean that Morbius would be a decent option if Destroyer and Toad were on the same path in the Gauntlet, so maybe I'll do that for when the Gauntlet drops. We'll see. But anyway, there goes Destroyer. And yeah, that took 3 minutes. Not the fastest, but he's also made for short fights, so, you know, we'll take it. Next up, we're fighting Eternity Pain Dormammu. Not much to say about this one. Undying passive does mitigate some of the damage we take from the degen. If you have a higher Sig Morbius, then you're going to be taking even less degen. Went for a Ricochet Intercept, didn't work. Went for a Ricochet Intercept again, didn't work. I guess it just doesn't work against XL opponents, because I swear I can Ricochet Intercept for a lot of matchups, but whatever. He's going to drop his SB2 here. We're going to glide into the final hit, which, fun fact, you can also glide into Unstoppable, and then you can block before they can hit you. So yeah, it's something I've considered doing for like the infamous Path 5 Destroyer in Alliance War. to where you can get an intercept just by gliding into his unstoppable, and then he can't punish you for it because he's gonna miss, and then once the miss is gone, you're immediately able to block. So yeah, it's an assignment we've considered doing, but we've always just had a spider punk, so who cares. But it is an option for the future, I suppose. Anyway, we're just going to keep dropping my SP1s just for the consistent knockdowns because I want to get these degens off of me. And yeah, they do less damage a little bit because of the Undying, I guess. But either way, the Undying it's helping a little bit, but the main goal is just consistently knocking him down. I guess I could have gone for like an SP2 with like high rupture counts, but I just didn't. It doesn't matter. The way the fight was designed was just, you know, knock him down a lot. Except you don't want to knock him down a lot because of Footloose. Either way, he just gets the job done, so I'll take it. He's not going to last that much longer. Go for a heavy attack. Go for an SP1 right here. Place another degen on him, and then yeah, just keep doing that until he degens to death. Anyway, waiting a bit. There we go. Get the degen placed once again. Gonna glide into this SP2 right here, and then do a nice medium crit. That was like 19k, which is cool. He does increase his attack on this glide, which is cool, especially if you get the crits. Obviously, it's only one hit in your combo, so it's like, how much extra damage really is it? But it does make a nice, shiny, medium yellow number, which I'll take it. Anyway, next up, we're gonna be fighting, what are we gonna be fighting? Oh, Guantlet Doom. Guantlet Doom, he works for this fight. I don't really know exactly the physics of size matters and micro reflect, because sometimes I'm like, shouldn't that have glanced? And then other times I'm like, well, that glanced, I didn't expect it to. I don't know, but we get the job done. That's what I do know. Morbius is pretty decent for Dr. Doom because you place the Petrify and then he can't activate an aura, which is nice. It helps if you don't get glanced on the hit where you would place the Petrify so that you actually can get it, but there we go. We got the Petrify right there. And then, because I need intercepts to not glance, I just drop the SP2 when he's dashing at me. I don't know if that's like entirely necessary, but in my head it was, so that's how we're going to be dropping special attacks, only when he's dashing at me. Anyway, that glanced, and then like the next one doesn't, or something. So yeah, it didn't glance there. I think it's like an 85% chance, but I swear that happened like a lot, where my SP1 counters just didn't glance. I don't know. Again, this node set just confuses the hell out of me. There it glanced, but we did place bleeds. I think the fervor increasing my ability accuracy is part of it, and also you saw me do a ricochet intercept there, so yes, it does work versus some opponents. For some reason it doesn't for all of them. Anyway, glance there, bleeds didn't apply. I don't know, we regen some lifesteal, I guess. And yeah, got an intercept there. Just trying to get this guy to die before I do because of the glance node. Anyway, yeah, we're getting the job done. So yeah, continue building to an SP2 with ideally 10 bleeds so that we can get that Petrify active. Drop the SP1 there, place a bunch of bleeds. Now I need to counter this guy's SP2, and then go for an intercept here. He can't glance the intercepts, which is cool. There's our opportunity to place bleeds. And then, yeah, also we go for the special intercept, and then he's gonna die, hopefully. Get it right there, finishes the job, perfect. Yeah, I don't think I suggest Morbius for that fight, but it works, I guess. So yeah. Alright, now we're going to do Alliance War gameplay. This is a very infamous fight for me. Doing Enchantress on node 49 with Morbius. One of my most interesting Alliance War fights probably of last season, because of the way this one ends. But yeah, Morbius, would I assign this again? I actually probably would. I think maybe I-Bomb would be a little bit better. I can't think of... I know we've sent I-Bomb before. I can't think of, like, anyone else specifically who would be really good for the Enchantress on this node. Holy game lag, dude. Yeah, that was fun. She drops the SP1 right there. And then I want to glide in to counter the special to prevent the power charge gain for a little bit. Only 7 seconds, but it's something. And then I go for an SP2 right there. which does decent damage. Someone commented asking about power backs for this fight. In hindsight, yeah, they probably would have been better, but not using them was on purpose because we were a little bit worried about me gaining too much power to where I'm not ready to drop an SP2 when I'm forced to. But maybe, I don't know. There was not supposed to be a parry. It just decided that I parried. And also, in hindsight, I would be pushing Enchantress to SP3s in this fight like I do against the bosses. And it was stupid for me to not do that here. I think it was just because this was like War 3, so my Enchantress fighting strategy wasn't fully developed yet, because all 3 of my earliest Enchantresses, out of like the 10 I took, the 3 early ones were a little bit messy, except for one of them. But anyway, we're gonna get this job done. Yeah, I need to drop the SP2 here, which is going to, well, ideally not miss, but I didn't have Tactic up, which is weird because Morbius almost always has Tactic up, but I just let it go because I couldn't play really aggressive there. And then I realized, oh wait, why did I drop that SP2? Because now she's gonna reflect damage. And then I was like, oh wait, there's more damage reflect. I'm at 4% now, and I'm like, well, time to kill her. Because otherwise I'm gonna die. And luckily she didn't drop her SP1 there, otherwise I might have. Anyway, yeah, you can see we got the job done. And I think Morbius could do that better than I played it, especially if you push her to SP3s like I do for the bosses that I take later that season. Yeah, I would do that fight again, and it would definitely look a lot cleaner than it did that time. I guarantee you on the second attempt I could do that fight better. Next up, we're fighting Mephisto on node 10. Yeah, again, Morbius is very good for Mephisto because you regen a bunch of the aura damage he's going to deal to you, and then you're just ready to kill him after you regen it. So anyway, this guy is on node 10, so he's unblockable for most of the fight, but also we're Morbius, we make our own openings, so who cares? And yeah, go for a light intercept there. I could have played this even better to where I could have like more bleeds ready for when I'm dropping it, but either way, it's still going to be a really, really nice looking fight. We go for the counter right there, 11 bleeds, and he didn't go for an intercept, but I got a nice intercept. And then I'm going to go for the special counter in just a moment. And then we drop the SP2, not yet. We're going to do it right there with 14 bleeds, and it's enough damage. And now I just go for the counter, right there he dies. So yeah, Mephisto in node 10. Nothing for the Morbing god. And then we move to path 4, where we're going to fight a Clairvoyant. I fight Claire on 2 different nodes on path 4. The first one is Steady Build Up Fury. The second one is Steady Build Up Unblockable. Actually, no, I had that backwards. The first one is Steady Build Up Unblockable. The second one is Steady Build Up Fury. But anyway, this Unblockable one first. Spoiler alert, this fight is 21 seconds long. So yeah, you place the ruptures and then you just kind of win. That's basically it. She's gonna nullify your fervor, which is really cool, and then you just counter her specials. You place a bunch of ruptures, and you handle Mystic Dispersion with both your natural petrify and the heal block from the tactic, and then you drop a 250,000 damage SP2 with an equity involved. Yeah, no, that went pretty well. That might have been the fastest war fight I've literally ever had. I think that is the... Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head of a war fight that went faster than that. Anyway, the next Claire. This one is on path 4, so inequity is even more of a big thing. So this one doesn't last 21 seconds, but it does go pretty fast. I won't deny that. So yeah, we just counter specials, boom, place ruptures, boom, yep, happy. Passive fervor just makes it to where I have a much higher chance of placing the ruptures, so that's cool. And then I'm going to go for an SP2, which isn't going to kill because of inequity, but I also only dropped it with 12. I didn't glide as much. She also wasn't very special happy, so yeah, you just need a bit. Also, long distance relationship, right? That's part of it as well. So that was making it last longer. But anyway, the war fight is over, and then we move on to this Section 2 fight versus this Rintrah on Node 19. So, I didn't fight Rintrah very well here. I kind of forgot, like, his main threat, where he goes unstoppable in the corner. Remember when Rintrah was, like, such a meta defender in BGs, and now, like, everyone's Rintrah is still at rank 4 from when rank 4s were popular? I blame that on part of why I forgot how to fight Rintrah, because he kind of doesn't exist as a defender. That man would be such a good 7-star. 7-star Rintrah when? Like, it's gotta be soon, right? I wouldn't even be surprised if it's in the next Titan Crystal if they add a Mystic. And they're not adding a Mystic, because Enchantress and Shothra are going to be in the next Titan pool. But it would be cool if they make a 7-star Rintrah accessible sometime soon. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, we dropped this SP2. It heals me back some damage. We only had 13 bleeds, so like it didn't do a lot of damage, but it was a special 2. I don't know what else to say about it. Can you stop backing into the corner Rintrah? It's like he knows that he needs to trigger Unstoppable to actually survive this fight. And he's not going to survive this fight. We go for heavy attack. I think I was like contemplating for a second, like, do I heavy attack when technically if he gains charges 2 times, he would go unstoppable? And I was like, yeah, who cares? I'll risk it for the biscuit. And then, yeah, he dead. So, there we go. Next up, we're fighting Onslaught on Node 49. This was an off-season fight. I am mildly boosted, though, but I am going to heal a little bit. Obviously, this isn't what the amount of health I wouldn't enter the fight with would be if it was in season, and also I don't even have health boosts on. It was a green and an orange one. But I'm actually going to die in this fight, but I could have soloed, and that's kind of the point I'm just trying to make. He is an option that I would consider assigning if we see 49 Onslaught next season. Normally that's just a fight we give to Tigra, but I'm confident I could do this fight with Morbius. Tigra or Werewolf by Night, those are the ones we send. But yeah, Morbius can do this. I'm gonna die, but again, if I enter with full health, I don't die. And also I died to something stupid, which we'll get to when we get there. But I dropped the SP2, it doesn't do a lot of damage, because you have to have that Petrify for it to do a lot of damage. But we're just getting ready to find a window where we can glide. Dude, just throw the frickin' SP1. Like, oh my gosh. I was looking for the opportunity to glide into the special, and then we got it, so now we have a lot more bleeds. And dropping an SP1 here, place even more bleeds. He has Narrow Shocks. Mind you, when Onslaught has Narrows, he cannot miss. So, that's annoying, but also, yeah, we're chilling. We just need to find an opportunity, and then right here, we're going to get the glide to counter the special. 18 bleeds, drop it, 19 bleeds, and he's at 21%. So just another SP2 is going to finish the job. Bait an SP1 here, and then we eat it, and then he light intercepts me because Onslaught's AI is disgustingly terrible, and then we die. But again, that's a soloable fight. Again, I wasn't running health boosts like I would in season. I wasn't even healed to full like I would be in season. I wasn't running an invul boost like I probably would in season. Maybe a PS1. Either way, it would make the fight faster. That's a soloable fight in season. I know I can do it. So, just trying to explain myself before someone says, "Oh, but you died, so why are you showing this fight?" Because it works. And yeah, so we bait this guy's SP1, he throws it, I glide directly into it, place some more bleeds, and then he's gonna die in a moment. He charged the heavy, which was nice of him, and there we go, SP2, he's dead. And then yeah, I think that's all I have for Alliance War, and then the remaining fights I have are questing stuff, which I'm probably not gonna talk over, but oh wait, never mind, we have another Alliance War fight. I lied. This is another off-season one. I'm not going to be boosted for this one, but this is a Werewolf by Night on Node 4. So in this, it's just like kill the Werewolf, and Inequity is going to stuck. Just deal with it. That's basically how this fight goes. This one doesn't have Insult of Injury. I think that's the next one. But yeah, just kill the Werewolf. That's the goal of this fight, and let Inequity stuck. That's how this goes. But we bait the SP1. I find it funny when champions released in the same month are like direct counters to each other, because Morbius is like one of my favorite werewolf counters. Other examples are like Ironheart completely destroying Dust. I wish I could say Destroyer completely destroying Serpent, but that's not true. Yeah, man, they should have made Destroyer more viable for Serpent. Anyway, that stupid thing where direct damage is hindered versus Serpent, when it shouldn't apply that way for Mystics. In my humble opinion, Mystics should not have their direct damage modified by Serpents. Destroyer should be able to destroy Serpent. Whatever. No one listens to any Serpent arguments, so... yeah, I can't even think of any other examples right now, but those are the two big ones, like Morbius versus Werewolf, Ironheart versus Dust. Yeah, anyway. Next up, we're fighting this, this Silver Surfer here. This is just the questing stuff I want to finish the video with, because some people just like to quest in this game, and I totally get that, so I want to have some questing stuff for you. It's a nice little utility showcase too, because I believe this node has Rich Get Richer, and Morbius's Petrify access is really easy, and it's also just very potent, because you have like 100% ability power rate and regen rate reduction active at almost all times, because of how easy it is to get to 10 bleeds or 10 ruptures in questing scenarios. So, and even in Battlegrounds, like, it's not always that difficult to get 10 bleeds or 10 ruptures up like really early. Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna let the questing stuff play out, and then I'll show the nodes and stuff like before the fight happens. But that's gonna be my Morbius showcase. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I'm also going out of order of my rank 3s, because technically I should have done Killmonger. Technically I should have done Dust first. In case you didn't know, I'm not making Killmonger showcase because I genuinely don't care about Killmonger other than his defensive value. That's why I ranked him. And Dust is also just bugged at the moment to where like she's losing almost half of her damage, so I can't really do gameplay because of that bug being so bad. But yeah, at least you get the Morbius one, and then my 9th rank 3 shouldn't be too much longer. Which, yeah, I'm not going to say who my 9th rank 3 is, but it is a very well-known and well-populated champ, who also happens to be in the science class, so you can put your guesses into there if you don't already know. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to stop voicing over this video. There's only like a minute and a half left anyway. I'll see you in the next one.